My name is Ben, this is Board Game Dad, and today we're going to look at the Bazaars of Ubar, which is published by Gray Fox Games, and this is the first game by this company that I've reviewed. It's an interesting one because it's very puzzly. It combines elements of time, space, and money to create a unique puzzle every time that players are competing to solve, essentially. So I'm going to show you a few turns of how this game is played, and I'll give you my thoughts at the end. Let's look into the condition that I'm facing right now. This is the second round, as indicated by these cards on the side, which tell me the trading value of each of the 5 goods that can be sold during the game. So I can see actually that in this round, none of the goods are sold for a very high value. Whereas in the following round, I'm going to get a lot more for lamps and a lot more for scarabs. So I could hold goods for the following round, but the goods that I collect are limited by the space that I have on my ship. So in order to get these goods, I'm going to be using the actions from tiles, and every action I take takes time, and that's indicated on this time track. So this is one of those games where when I take my turn, if I take 3 time, for example, then my opponent can take actions until they catch up to where I am. So I am the player who's going right now, and this is what I can choose from. So to understand how this works, I'm just going to take a tile that I had planned. I'm going to take this tile, and every tile has hourglasses on it. So this has 2 hourglasses, so it's going to cost at least 2 time, but it's adjacent to other tiles that have hourglasses as well. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And when I remove a tile from the board, it doesn't get replaced. So because the cost of tiles is dependent on adjacent tiles, the result of this is things get cheaper as the game goes on because they don't get replaced. So I can take this tile and I'm going to place it on my board here. And let me tell you what this will do. So first, I get to activate the tile itself. And this is saying for a time, I get a carpet and a lamp. I haven't even advanced for the tile itself. So it cost me 4 time. 1, 2, 3, 4. I get to trade 1 time for a carpet and a lamp. And then this particular tile activates tiles adjacent to it in my tableau, starting with the one above. So for another time, I can get either a carpet or a trunk. Now, a nice thing is, this is the best time to sell carpets because it's 1 carpet per 2 coins. So I might do that. Even though it's going to take almost the entire round, I'll do another one, gain another carpet, and then over here, I can trade my scarab for 2 lamps and a potion. So I would do that. I would trade a scarab, and during the game, at any time, if you run out of space on your ship, you can throw something overboard. And I'm going to do that too. So I get 2 lamps. Let's see, you can rearrange things. So there's the puzzle of rearranging in this game. 2 lamps and a potion. Now that makes me absolutely full. But I'm thinking that I will sell all of the carpets and I will save the lamps for the following round. So the fact that it took me all of this time is okay, but my opponent is going to be able to probably take several tiles. So this is what you're trading off in the game. It's always a question of how many actions do I want to take. So if I want to take many actions, I need to make sure I'm taking tiles that cost less time. And then also, how do I optimize the resources in order to take advantage of the trade opportunity? And how do I use these actions in order to maximize the strengths in the tableau that I'm building? And so this particular one triggered the tableau every tile adjacent to it. This tile would trigger one tile to the left. This tile would trigger 2 tiles to the left. And so there's several different ways to trigger actions, and each of the ones that you collect during the game is going to give you different resources, and you're using this to guide you. A lot to think about, a very puzzly game, the puzzle of the tableau, the puzzle of this, and the drafting. What I like about the Bazaars of Ubar is that it's a game that is extremely varied and non-uniform. Depending on the tiles that come out, the cards that come out, you're going to have a different approach to do this game every single time. It's not always going to be the case that the best strategy is to get a certain, resource. I love the fact that the market cards come out at the beginning of the game, so there's full transparency on what's going to count and when it's going to matter. And I really, even though it seems like you're stacking on too much stuff, I really like using the space in your boat, because it's not just the resources you're collecting, but you have to manage space. I think it's a really great and practical mechanic, and I wish I saw that in more games. So many games like this, it's beneficial to take as many actions as possible. And in this game, that's not always the case. So if you immediately and intuitively think, oh, I'm just going to take whatever the cheapest tile is, you could easily find yourself later in the round going, there's nothing I can do. Nothing is valuable at all. And it's because you have these tiles and you took a lot of them, but they weren't very effective for the objectives that you wanted to obtain. So that was a little contrary to my prior experience in other games, but at the same time, it was a relief that for once, a game is not solely about taking a ton of actions. You can be efficient in other ways. I think that's one of the reasons why the game excited me. Now, there are a few drawbacks about this game. One is that it's very abstract feeling. In fact, this is actually something I often complain about, is that the game is just trading meaningless resources for other meaningless resources. They only have the value that's assigned arbitrarily on these tiles. And so you're not going to like this game if you want something that's thematic, because there's really no significance. It's all arbitrary trading. I got a sense when I was playing it with my group of friends that I was the person who liked it the most. I thought the others in the group thought it was a little too dry. One of the reasons why that doesn't bother me about this game is that the game is also not distracted by theme. It's completely focused on trade optimization. So that is the Bazaars of Ubar. By the way, this is the profile for that game. You can see that it's rather complex and skill-based, as it has very low theme. If you want to find other games that are like this one, you can search for that profile on the perfectboardgame.com and find matches, or you can just look at different lists of games that are ranked according to the ratings on the site and find ones that would be a hit for you that way. So you can check that out at theperfectboardgame.com. And once again, I'd like to give a special thank you for my patrons for supporting this channel. Thanks again. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.